Hi, Orland. I wanted to leave you some feedback on your rough draft for SA2. I think that you have some really good description here. In fact, like you have this very lengthy paragraph. It's like really a page and a half worth of description. And I think that it's working pretty well. I do see some indication of audience here, and um, and maybe a hint at a thesis statement here. Let's talk about what you need to focus on for revision. First off, make sure that your heading is not on each page. Your header here should be on each page. It goes in the upper right hand corner, but the heading should only appear on your first page. So first off, this this discussion kind of comes out of nowhere. So I would recommend starting off with a clearer introduction. So really, this kind of feels like a PSA, like a public service announcement, um, uh, to try to get the idea out there that smoking is of course deadly, right? We have research that is conclusive. No one can really argue against that. But what we could argue is what's the best way to get that message out there. So I think a discussion, just an introduction to public service announcements, their effectiveness, maybe why people create or organizations create public service announcements would be really effective here. Another thing that you could possibly talk about is the shift from ads promoting cigarette smoking to ads that do the exact opposite. So I don't even think that you're allowed to create ads for cigarette smoking anymore. But I can remember very clearly seeing cigarette ads when I was a child and even a teenager. So in just the course of 20 years, we've 20 or 30 years, I should say, we have moved on to not doing that. So in short, what I want you to do is think about a clearer introduction here, because it kind of feels like the reader gets dropped into this description with no context for it. Another thing that is not clear in this essay is you don't have a thesis statement. And remember that visual analysis papers are thesis-driven papers. In other words, you need to create a clear stance on this issue, or on the paper, or on the image, I should say. So while you have all this great description, without the thesis statement and without your analysis, all of your ideas kind of fall flat. It feels like you're hinting at a possible thesis statement here, but this idea is way too broad. So remember what we talked about in class. A good thesis statement for a visual analysis will identify the specific visual techniques the image uses to persuade the audience to do whatever it's trying to get them to do. But of course, this idea here is too broad, and it's at the very end of the paper. So when you sit down to revise this, I would, like I said before, think of an introduction that more clearly creates the purpose, and then you can also present your thesis statement here. I would recommend breaking this paragraph here into into more than one paragraphs, because I got a little bit confused with your organization. You talk about color, then you talk about the man and what he's doing, and then you come back here to talking about color again. Readers like information organized in chunks, and it's like chunks, meaning that whenever you talk about color, you should do it in one section of the paper and one section only. Whenever you talk about the figure, that should be its own paragraph, its own chunk of information. And anytime you refer to the paper, it should be in that section and that section only. Otherwise, it reads like it's really disorganized, and it'll give the reader whiplash. So in short, good description, but it doesn't feel purposeful yet. However, I think with a clear introduction, and more specifically a clearer thesis, you could get there. And that's what I'd have you focus on for revision. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.